I've decided to put together a very short video. Well, I hope it will be short because I do tend to train on about the paranormal and communicating with spirits, plus touching on a few issues that have been raised by some viewers to the website. Well, firstly, can I thank everybody from the bottom of my heart, and I really do mean this, for your support for our videos on YouTube. Currently we're over 700 subscribers, which for a paranormal video is quite a record. And if, on the other hand, of course, I featured a young model wearing a bathing costume, I'd probably have 104,000 subscribers, but hey, this is the paranormal world, it's different. But I'm very appreciative for those that have subscribed, and I hope they do stay with me. I've got many emails supporting the style of video that we present, and they obviously want it to continue, so I will do my level best for you. But let's touch on the recent videos that I put together concerning communicating with orb activity. Without drawing into the definition of what orbs are, I've already covered that on previous videos. This is what I actually do. Firstly, I meditate to chill out. And how I do that, if I'm a little bit stressed out, I do breathing exercises where I breathe in, hold it for 3 seconds, breathe out for 3 seconds, breathe in for 3 seconds, and so on. I do this for about 5 minutes. Then I close my eyes and I place myself in a room in the house which is quiet. Sometimes I have backing music just to relax me, and I imagine myself to be in the most wonderful, most beautiful place in the world. In my case, it's a desert island with palm trees and the sea lapping against the yellow sandy beaches and animals gambling around in the undergrowth, that kind of thing. And I find that works for me pretty well. It makes me feel very relaxed. Once I've done that, I then have to protect myself. The best method for protection, in my case, is to imagine yourself completely enveloped in a wonderful golden or white light which completely encapsulates the whole body. And imagine over that white light a plastic skin of energy which holds that light in place, so when you're pushing and pulling, you can feel that energy is still there around you. Once I have that firmly in mind and I'm sufficiently relaxed, go into, in my case, one bedroom in this house, which I'll describe in a moment. When I sit there just for a couple of minutes, just soaking up what's actually going on around me, because I think it's important that you're able to determine what kind of activity exists if you are able to do that. And I'm sure we can all do that if we put our minds to it. Once I've done that, I then speak in a very quiet but very respectful voice, calling to spirit to come to me. Now I can say that it's not always that wonderfully easy. On some occasions there's absolutely no activity in the room described, and on other occasions it's very active indeed. In fact, it's so active I can sit there without saying anything and it just appears. But when it does appear, it's to speak to them, and speak to them in a way that you would want to speak to a best friend, with respect and with interest and concern. And sometimes it can happen very quickly, and other times it takes time, but eventually you should build up a rapport. And if that actually succeeds, they will react to your presence. They will come to you and they will move back if you ask them to. Another question I get often asked is about overshadowing, as for example where a spirit is, in my case, my own experience, has got too close to me. And two effects I suffer with. One is a bad stomach. You feel a pain in your stomach. Sometimes you can feel biliousness, you can feel sickness. And other times you can feel pains to your head, as so often frequently happens to me. Or other times you just feel a tightening in the chest. You just feel that energy is there, it's on top of you. If that happens, politely ask them to stand back. Tell them that it's hurting you. Invariably what's happening there is that somebody is trying to make contact with you. And if your channels aren't fully opened, it can cause problems. So if that happens, just respectfully ask them to stand back. I don't form any basis on religion for my studies of the paranormal. Yes, I am a spiritual person. I believe in God, in what whatever God is, I believe in a universal energy, a spirit. And I think that the planet upon which we live is a reflection of that. I don't believe in organised religion. It's not that I have disrespect for other people's beliefs, because I don't. I think that in a democratic society, all religious beliefs should be tolerated. But from my perspective, I don't think that spirituality from a religious-based perspective has anything to do with it, because to me religion is all about control and restrictions and structure and orders. And in the spiritual world, it has nothing to do with that. You're actually communicating with people who are no different to what they were when they were alive. They are still thinking conscious beings, albeit without a body, and that is the difficulty that we have in the communication. Most people expect ghosts to appear in a physical presence, but in most cases they appear as orb activity, or being the thinking part of the cortex, as it were, of the brain. And quite often, especially in this particular bedroom in the house, there's one wall which gets very, very cold to the touch, which I think is a portal, and quite often I see hundreds of orbs streaming through. Now, all those orbs streaming through do not denote hundreds of different spiritual beings, simply that it's an expanding consciousness. One orb expands into smaller orbs, and that envelops the room. When it reaches the second stage, should it do so, then it will manifest itself into some kind of ectoplasmic mist. And I'm pretty sure most of you have seen examples of that. And if it should go to the third stage, which is very difficult for them to do, the orbs will break up into a myriad of tiny lights and will actually form some kind of structure, some kind of being. That doesn't occur very often. In my house I have a lady called Ada. She's a lovely person that comes very occasionally. Her presence is noted by the smell of cooking in the house and the smell of perfume. She lived here many, many years ago. Another spirit that appears from time to time is a little girl, and it's a tragic story. She lived in this house, but she died in hospital, and she's still very much attached, and she comes back with her grandparents in spirit. I've tried to broach the subject with the father, as I found out whose father the child was. But it's difficult. How can you say to them, I'm in contact with the spirit of your daughter? You can't, can you? Unless they believe. And this is what it's all about, it's belief. But to structure that belief, you have to go out there and you have to experience it for yourself, so that you can see it firsthand what kind of spiritual activity there is. It's no good sitting back on the home PC looking at clips on YouTube. You see a few orbs and just write up dust, because that, you're not explaining yourself. All you're doing is showing your own inner bigotry. If you don't believe in this, it's best not to watch it. That's my advice. Emails that I've been receiving from various people about contacting spirits, and one of the favourite ways that some people like to do it, particularly young people, and this really, really concerns me, is using this device, the Ouija board. Now, I have a Ouija board, and the reason that I have it is because I like the artwork, but nothing more than that. I don't use this Ouija board. It's just something which forms part of my collection of paranormal things. These were manufactured right through to the early 80s by Spears Games in America and Waddington's in the UK. They are possibly the worst way of communicating with spiritual activity. Excuse me. I often get emails from particularly young girls that have been playing with Ouija boards, and one young lady reported that her friend is Wiccan, and that if they use colour coordinated candles it will protect them. It won't. It's absolute rubbish, complete nonsense. Let me explain what a Ouija board is. It's like leaving your front door open and inviting anybody from the street to come in your house and do whatever they like, except it won't be with your property, it will be with your mind. And sometimes they might decide to stay, these negative elemental energies, and they're the ones that can make your life extremely unpleasant. Whatever you do, please do not dabble with Ouija boards. They're a definite no-no. The kit that you need is obviously a Zero Lux or Night Shot digital or analog video camera, a still camera, whether it's a 35mm film camera or a digital still camera, an EMF meter for picking up any kind of electrical disturbance in the atmosphere which can foreclose some kind of spiritual activity that's about to occur. The best ones for that are not the Gauss or Gauss meters. They let off a loud pitched whine which is enough to scare anybody away. I prefer the ones that are made by K2 Industries. You see them on eBay, they're shaped like coffins, funny enough. You just put your finger down on the button and just hold it in place all the time. And you have a row of diodes. These light up and they maintain lit up if there's an activity. They are very, very useful. A laser thermometer is another useful piece of kit, but again, don't use a laser thermometer when you're videoing, because the skeptics will then seize upon that and will dismiss all your activity as being that of a laser thermometer, so leave well alone. Just on the emails and contact, I've had quite a few recently, people that have seen the last recent videos I've put on about communicating with spirits, and they've actually tried it for themselves, and they've had quite a success with communicating with orbs, and the orbs are interacting with them. So I suggest you should try it, but only try it if your house or wherever you're practicing feels warm and friendly. If you feel unhappy about it, don't do it. If you feel unhappy, there's something not quite right, so don't touch it. If on the other hand, as in my house, it's pleasant, it's a good way of contacting people that have moved from this world into the next. And if you can make and maintain that level of contact with them, it can be quite beneficial. And that's what I'm doing at the moment. The project that I'm currently working on is due to end very, very shortly. And during that time, I've identified positively a number of energies which appear infrequently or frequently, but always maintain the same shape. Now, of course, if the notion was dust, then why would the dust retain the same shape 2 years later? It doesn't, does it? So that argument really doesn't hold up to inspection. Okay. What I would like from you YouTube viewers, if you have a property that you live in which is located within the Essex area of the UK, or the Suffolk borders, or Hertfordshire borders, or London borders, please contact us. We will carry out very discreet inquiries. There's no loads of camera crews and equipment being dragged into your house. It's very, very discreet, and we'll evaluate the best course of dealing with it. Sometimes it is necessary to move on an energy. Other times it can be resolved. It can be over, for example, building work. If you've had recent building work to the property, that may agitate some kind of activity, in which case we can reason with these particular energies. Well, hopefully we can, and we can stop it. If that doesn't work, we will move them over. But if you have a property, you can contact me at admin@haunted-earth.co.uk. Right, just before I finish, a piece of shameless self-publicity, but I think it's important I mention this. A lot of the stuff that we've done has involved illumination of some kind, obviously, for night work. Now, if you use analog cameras, generally you can get a fairly good field of view naturally using your onboard lighting system. But if you're using HD cameras or mini DV cameras, the quality is very poor, simply that the manufacturers have made their cameras a lot smaller, therefore less infrared light receptors, and that leads, or equates to, very poor quality video. You've all seen it, very tight balls of light and total darkness. This device here, the Cobra Illuminator, will fully illuminate the room that you're working in without any difficulty whatsoever. If you have an analog camera, it will go one stage further than that. I've measured the infrared light from one of these to a distance of 110 feet. That is far and way beyond any other illuminators that I've found on the market at present. Even better, they fit any camera. They're attached here by the camera screw, which goes to the base of your camera, so you've got a screw there. And here I've got a widescreen mini DV, and if I open it up, as you can see, there's more than enough room for the widescreen window. It's easy to operate. I can hold it in one hand. Now, There is a PP9 battery box attached to it, which will only run for a short period. But even better, you can run this battery attached by special leads. This battery is the 4R256 volt battery. There are special leads which clip to it. You carry it in your pocket so it doesn't cause any inconvenience whatsoever. And with this you can video all night long. No battery changes required, one battery does all. And in many cases I've used these batteries for 4 or 5 investigations. So if you're looking at saving money, this is the way to do it. These batteries cost about £2, which I think is $4 US, and they're good value. And you can pick these up from supermarkets, hardware stores, DIY shops, that kind of thing, even on markets as well. If you want to know more about that particular illuminator, have a look at www.hauntid-earth.co.uk/cobra.html. That will show you illustrated examples of the lights at work, and you'll be quite amazed. A number of investigation groups in the paranormal field have used these lights across the UK and North America, Canada and the US, and they've all reported the lights to be absolutely fantastic for their needs. So have a look at it, and if you're interested, get back to me. I developed these lights for the use of my own group originally, and this is the Mark II version that I've just shown you, and they are very, very effective. And if you want to work with full illumination in zero lux or zero light conditions, they are the lights for you. Okay, end of plug. Anyway, just to round up, thank you very, very much for your support for Haunted Earth on YouTube. I really do appreciate that. Please stay tuned. I can't always produce video on demand. I'd love to, but there are occasions when I can't do it. Alternatively, there is no activity. So as soon as I get anything, it's there for you. Lastly, just to let you know, we have a big investigation coming up in July. It's at an 18th century Martello Tower, which is located, I believe, near Harwich in Essex. Now, Martello towers were built as round defensive towers against French invasion. They were garrisoned by troops and they were fortified with large guns. So if a French warship should dare show its face in the Thames estuary or along the coast of Essex, then the guns would open up on the ship. If that didn't sink the ship, the garrison of troops would deal with the invaders as they came ashore. So you can imagine that this particular building is steeped with a lot of history, so who knows what we're going to capture. Anyway, just thanking you all for your support and saying goodbye to you, and stay tuned, and if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Thank you.